Morning, Selina. Thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. It's great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing all about your wonderful destination. But before we get into that, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely. Good morning, Caroline. Very lovely to join you on this podcast episode. I'm super excited and looking forward to it. Yes, my name is Selina and I work for the Gstaad Saanenland Tourism. And yes, I am one of those lucky people who actually live where others go on holiday. I initially grew up in Basel, that's in the north of Switzerland. But a couple of years ago, I fell in love with Gstaad whilst I was on holiday myself. And my job at Gstaad Saanenland Tourism is all about searching and telling stories of the region, the well-known ones, but especially the more quieter ones, the more genuine ones that people often do not expect. And I guess that's what I love most about my job.
Yeah, well, that sounds fantastic. As you say, there's a lot of stories that people have probably heard about the destination. So being able to reveal some of those lesser known delights, yeah, would must be very satisfying. So,
Absolutely.
so for our listeners who perhaps aren't familiar with Stad, where exactly is it, and how would you describe it to them?
So Gstaad is located in the Bernese Oberlands. That's in the southwest of Switzerland, surrounded by mountains, meadows, and of course, lots of fresh air. Very, very easily approachable by train. So, for example, within 3 hours from Zurich and within 2 hours from Geneva. What most important to mention is the holiday region is much bigger than just the Gstaad village, which most of you guys probably know of. When you think about Gstaad, you only think about Gstaad, the village itself. But in total, our region holds 10 villages. So besides Gstaad, nine other villages, each village with its own character and very, very special. So together they make and build the holiday region of Gstaad. So that's what most people do not know and are very surprised when they come here and get to know that fact.
I'm sure they are. Now, Stad itself has a bit of a reputation for glamour. A lot of people probably know it as a very glamorous ski resort. So, for a first time visitor who's perhaps worried that it might be a little bit too, exclusive, let's say, for them, what do you think surprises them about when they actually arrive in the village?
Well, honestly, I can only speak out of my own experiences as well. So you can absolutely trust me 100%. It feels so down to earth and so normal when you walk through the promenade, when you walk through all those villages. It's not at all what you are expecting or what people have in mind, because most of people expect red carpets and velvet robes, and actually they see farmers with rubber boots and guests in hiking gears. And you will find luxury here, absolutely. And that's what we also kind of stand for. But you will also find cows crossing the road, blocking traffic or producing traffic. So you immediately calm down and slow down. Also, besides that, that's our slogan, come up and slow down. So with the cows, um, a, a funny fun fact is also the whole region of Gstaad counts 11,000 cows.
Mm.
Just as much inhabitants do we have. So at least everybody has one cow. And yeah, if you walk along the promenade or as I said, in the villages, you will see those beautiful wooden chalets with handcrafted, beautiful signs in it and beautiful motifs. So locals, they will not see you as a tourist or as a foreigner. They just greet you with a simple grüezi, and yeah, everybody goes its way. And I think that's the contrast which surprises people in the best way possible, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's a welcoming village or welcoming region for everyone,
Ab-
regardless of yeah whether you're coming there for the luxury high end shopping or you want to come for hiking or skiing or just to
ab-
see a really authentic Swiss village.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah, good. Okay, so I know that transport and accessibility are major considerations for most people when they're planning their trip to Switzerland. So, if someone is flying into Switzerland, you already mentioned that it's just 3 hours from Zurich and it's 2 hours from Geneva. But if they're relying on trains to get to Stade and to get around the region, is public transport very accessible?
Absolutely. It's very, very easy and very scenic as well. So Gstaad is directly connected to the Swiss rail network and lies on the famous Golden Pass line. So whether you come from Montreux or Interlaken or from Zurich, from the airport, the journey itself already feels like a part of the holiday. So you have the big windows, you have a good service in the train itself, you have the mountains, you have the endless views. So I would describe it as it's the journey which is already, as I said, a part of the holiday, and it's one of those train rides where you forget to check your phone because it's so stunning. And yeah, within the region, everything is super well connected.
Excellent. Yes, I have to agree. I did. Well, I've done that been on the train to Stade and past Stade a couple of times, and oh, the scenery is just absolutely amazing. You don't
Yeah,
even like you say you don't want to look at your phone, or you don't need to because you're just so busy gazing out the window and wondering what amazing view is coming next.
super. I'm happy you go along with my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So what about, those other 9 villages that you mentioned? Are they all on the train line or are they buses to get to some of them? How would people get around if they wanted to explore more of the region?
Yes, I already mentioned it in a very short sentence, but public transport works wonderfully here in the region. So trains and buses connect all villages in the region. And with the Gstaad cards, you might have heard of it before, which every guest with at least one overnight stay receives, they can use the public transportation for free. So many places are also very easy to explore on foot or by bike, but you still have the opportunity to use the bus or the train. So you don't really rely, or it's not really necessary to bring a car, which is, I think, quite refreshing.
Yeah, definitely makes it more of a holiday, I think, if you're not worrying about driving and parking.
Yes,
Perfect,
absolutely.
perfect. Okay, so let's talk about the best time of year to visit. If
Mhm.
our listeners are flexible with their travel dates, what time of year would you recommend for a first visit and why?
I think that's a very hard question
Mhm.
because I decided to live here all year around because every season has its charm. And of course, winter is all about snow sports and cozy mountain huts and that classic pure alpine feeling. Spring is a little bit more quieter, very authentic, and perfect for nature lovers because everything starts to bloom. And yeah, you have endless views of green meadows and beautiful flowers you've never seen before. So that's what actually got me when I came here during summertime and even during wintertime. You just it's a region to just calm down and out of a sudden you sit in a chair and you feel like wow, I'm home. And yeah, as I said, summer brings hiking, it brings biking, it brings lots of festivals. You might have heard already of our top events. For example, we have a huge festival which is all about classical music, Menuhin, the Gstaad Menuhin Music Festival, or the Country Festival. It's the second biggest country festival in Switzerland. And also a couple of sports events like the volleyball tournament and the tennis tournament, EFG Swiss Open, which are also held during summertime. So summer can get very busy, but you can also like escape into those beautiful, as I mentioned, beautiful green meadows, go on a hike, go to to the mountain lakes, and you will find lots of peace there. And for autumn, I would say it's golden, really, really beautiful. It's a calm season, and yeah, nothing more to add. Incredibly beautiful.
Okay. Sounds like there's definitely a reason to be there in every season. Um, but
Absolutely.
but are there a couple of those seasons where perhaps people might obviously there's going to be fewer people, like you said, in spring and presumably autumn as well. Would they get better value, if they're looking for accommodation prices in those more off-season months?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Spring and autumn are perfect for that because as I mentioned, we have a lots of events during summertime, and as well winter is still our main business. We are a winter destination. People know us for skiing and the mountain hut experiences. So yes, it can get a little bit more busier during summer and winter time. So if you want to experience the more laid back and the relaxed region, spring and autumn are perfect for that. So you have fewer people, you have more space, and often very attractive offers. Um, I would also say or describe it as spring and autumn time is actually those seasons where you feel the rhythm of local life, if you understand what I mean.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, so you're getting, I guess, yeah, without so many so many tourists, you're getting, you're really seeing how the local inhabitants live and go about their daily lives.
Exactly. For example, I can explain it real quick with one example. We have still 350 farmers in the region, and 80 out of those 350 they go up on the Alps during summertime and produce in the traditional way still the cheese we sell here in the region. So Gstaad back in the days was a very very poor region, you know. Um, but we still hold on onto our traditions, and that's where we still have our farmers. And yeah, it's actually living side by side with each other. So we have the tourism and we have our local people and still our farming, you know? So everything goes hand in hand. And as I said, living side by side.
Yeah, well, that's great. It's really refreshing to know that some of those long held traditions are still, so hung on to and practiced today. I think there's, correct me if I'm wrong, is there a paper carving tradition as well? I know when I was in the region, I visited Saanen and I sort of love the paper craft there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So paper cutting has a very long tradition in our region. And we can also proudly say that the very, very first detected paper cut, which has been produced here in Switzerland, has been found in our region. So yes, this handcraft is still a thing, and we have quite a lot of artists here that still practice that tradition. And we also have the biggest paper cutting museum here in Châteaudet, which is just about 10 minutes away from Gstaad, maybe 15. Um, so yeah, you can go and visit that museum and learn all about the history of that beautiful tradition.
Yeah, great. So, plenty of activities. So, what about accommodation? Because obviously, that's another, concern that people have when they're planning their trip. So, is there a variety of accommodation styles available in the region?
Yeah. Absolutely. So everything from, of course, luxury hotels and boutique chalets to cozy family-run hotels and guest houses, service apartments and holiday flats. Like you can have literally anything you can think of, and for any budget. So you don't have to have a big budget of 4, 5,000 Swiss francs. You can also travel with a lower budget, for example, in hostels or in our 2, 3, yeah, 4-star hotels. Because out of over 50 hotels, we have five-star hotels. So everything else is between a 2 and a 4-star hotel. So as you see, there is literally everything for every budget.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, would you say there are any benefits for someone staying in one of the neighbouring villages rather than staying in Stad, or what differences might they expect? Between the two.
Yeah. So the villages around, they're often a little bit quieter and give you a very local perspective because there are only a few people or local people that live in Gstaad itself. Most people they live a little bit further away in the surrounding villages. So you are in the midst of of the local people and living in their region and in their neighborhood. So, and thanks to the excellent transportation, we have the connections are very well, and you are still super close to everything, which is, I think, also a very it's a profit for you. It's a plus for you. And many guests they tell us that they love that village feeling, not being in Stad itself, and being a little bit off the beaten track. To have that pure quietness and tranquility.
Okay. And so, what would be the distance or the travel time to the furthest village away from Stad?
Yeah. So from Gstaad, the furthest I would say is Zweisimmen. So that's like where the Saanenland and the holiday region starts. It opens up with Zweisimmen. From Zweisimmen, you have also the Golden Pass line, or by car, of course. You travel all the way to Sannenmöse, to Schönried, to Saanen, and then there is Gstaad. Gstaad and Saanen, they are one commune. So there is no Gstaad without Saanen and vice versa. Lots of people do not know that. And then you go a little bit further into the valleys from Torbach and Gsteig and Feutersee, and all on the other side, and Lauenen, of course, we shall not forget about Lauenen. And on the other side, there is also Uplenchen. So I would say from one point to the other, it's approximately about 30 minutes.
Wow. So it's not very
Or,
far at all. It's very, very
I,
close.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
Okay.
very,
Yeah, that's very handy. So let's assume that our listeners have decided they definitely want to stay in the Stad region, and they've got 2 or 3 full days to stay there. What are some of the activities that you recommend that they prioritize so that they really get the best experience without feeling too rushed?
Okay. So I would recommend a very good mix of sporty activities to be super laid back and also enjoying wellness. So I would recommend for sure 1 or 2 mountain experiences, maybe skiing in the region, but you also have the opportunity to ski on the Glacier 3000, which is the only glacier in the Bernese Oberland. Amazing views and very snow secure as well. Or you go on a panoramic hike. Here in the region, we have more than 300 kilometers of wonderful hiking trails for every level, and about 149 kilometers of winter hiking trails. If you depends on which season you like to come. So, um, yeah, hiking and biking, of course. So there's plenty to do with sports activities. For those who are seeking a little bit more the quietness, I would for sure recommend to take some time in the Gstaad village and in maybe 1 or 2 of the neighboring villages to explore them. Of course, it's scenic train rides, for example, with the Belle Époque from 1960s. You might have heard of that.
Mhm.
It's a beautifully restored train. Um, so yeah, that is a must see for me. And of course, we are in Switzerland, we are in Gstaad, we have very good cheese. So, of course, you will you have to have some cheese. It's all about cheese here in the region. So there is an offer which is called the Fondue Land. You can grab all prepared fondue backpack from one of our local dairies and start hiking to one out of 8XXL. I hope you can imagine it, or you have a picture in front of you. One of our out of 8XXL wooden fondue cacnons. So these are big fondue pots which are placed all over the region. And yeah, you can just grab that backpack, start hiking or biking to one of those fondue cacnons. And in your backpack, you will find everything for an outdoor fondue experience. And the best part about is once you are done, you don't have to clean it. Just wrap it up again and bring it back to the dairy and they take care of it.
Yeah. And the
The
wooden kakelot, is that how you pronounce it?
caclon, yeah.
It's like a big seating area that you can sit in, isn't it, that
Yeah.
resembles a fondue pot?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you can imagine it like it's a really everybody knows a fondue coquelin where you have your fondue inside of it. It's like a huge, huge, huge fondue coquelin, a wooden one. They're also handcrafted here locally in the region, and you can sit up to 8 people have space in that fondue coquelin. Yeah, and you
Yes.
just sit there with a beautiful view and set up your fondue, and you start enjoying it, of course, and yeah, you have your outdoor fondue experience.
Yeah, sounds absolutely perfect.
And when we are already talking about cheese, of course, there is also another cheese experience. It's called the cheese grotto. Uh, that is a very special grotto where we store more than 3,000 wheels of cheese.
Oh.
I guess I hope you can imagine how big that cellar must be,
Yes.
which is very, very impressive. And we have it does belong to the dairy of Gstaad, that cheese grotto, and you can book a guide online or a tour online. And yeah, that guide will tell you all about the tradition and the cheese making and what it actually means to our region. We call it the Alpine Gold and our cheese. And yeah, it's very, very important for us.
Yeah.
And of course, followed by a cheese tasting,
Yes.
obviously.
Of course. You could not visit and not taste the cheese.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
If I can add one more thing, maybe, which is for me very, very necessary if there are first time visitors, you shall not forget about unwinding, either at your hotel spa or at one of the day spas, treating your soul and mind. But I also mean you should definitely take time for just sitting down somewhere, enjoy the view, and do absolutely nothing. Because I feel sometimes in our world currently, this is there we have a luck. We're always in a rush.
Mhm.
And as I said, come up and slow down is not just our slogan, we live it. So that is most important to us. Time for more. Just sit and do nothing and see the view and enjoy it to the fullest, to the max,
Yeah, that's a very good motto to live by for sure.
right?
Righto. So for the visitors who perhaps haven't got very long to spend, and maybe they're traveling on the Golden Pass Express, and they decide to stop off in Stad just for a few hours before they join another one of the trains. What shouldn't they miss in those few hours that they have to spare?
Yeah. So I guess if the guests hop off of the train in Gstaad itself, of course you have to take a stroll along the promenade. Or you also walk up if you're more like a nature lover and an adventure seeker. You walk up or take the gondola to the hills above the village. That's where I am right now. I am on the house mountain of Gstaad, which is called the Egli, where you have a beautiful viewpoint and cozy mountain huts for a lovely mountain hut experience. Enjoy a coffee or a local dish such as fondue or rosti hash brown, um, and simply soak up the atmosphere. So I would say you don't need much time to feel what Gstaad is about. Just yeah, just try local dishes and local products, and be sure to get up to a hill or a mountain with a gondola. That
Yeah.
is already you will already feel and yeah, feel the atmosphere.
Yes, yeah. I think just strolling through, as you say, strolling along the promenade, seeing all those beautiful wooden chalets, and then getting somewhere up a bit high with a view, you really get the whole, yeah, the whole atmosphere, and really feel like you're immersed in the beautiful surrounding nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what's one thing that you think is typically Stad that you always recommend that first time visitors experience?
Well, I wouldn't say that is something to do like an event or a specific activity. I would rather say what people will experience is the mix or realize is the mix of tradition, how it's still very much we're all about tradition, but also very open for the new. So For example, we have the old wooden chalets next to international guests and international schools, farmers and very modern artists, and luxury and simplicity living side by side. So it comes very naturally without a fuss. And that's what I guess will people see and experience once they are start to exploring Gstaad.
Yeah, it's a destination for everyone.
Absolutely. Families, couples, single traveler, for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. You've probably already convinced us all there, but if someone was choosing between Gstaad and another Swiss alpine destination, why should they choose Gstaad? What sets it apart?
Because Gstaad doesn't try too hard. Gstaad is confident in what it is. It's authentic, it's diverse, it's welcoming, it's quietly special. We have good culinary. Um, it's not a resort you consume, it's a place you experience. And as I said, give yourself time for more. Walk with open eyes, and you will find something special and unique in every corner. I think there's nothing more to add.
Yeah, well, yeah, that I think that definitely sums it up. So well done, great job. So, do you have any final thoughts or tips for our listeners who are considering including Gstaad in their Swiss vacation plans?
Yes, come with an open mind and without any cliches. I mean, of course, we all know in people's mind when they think about Gstaad, it's like somewhere in the back it says, oh, luxury, I cannot afford it. But this is not true. And I hope I gave you a little bit more information and facts that it is affordable for everyone. So throw away the cliches and go and explore and search for it and yeah, come and see it and take your time to explore beyond the main streets and talk to people. And Gstaad reveals itself very slowly, but I am convinced that that is part of the magic.
Okay, well, that's great advice. Thank you so much, Selena. So, where can our listeners get more information about Gstaad Saanenland? Land?
Exactly. So, of course, on our website, gstaad.ch, and on our social media channels, and directly, of course, at one of our tourist offices. So, if you have any questions, we are always happy to help and plan a stay that really fits.
Okay, well, that's great. And I'll include those links in the show notes for this episode. So anyone listening can click through and check out the website and the social media and get all the information they need. And I'm sure there'll be lots of beautiful pictures on there too that will just make them, desperate to be there as soon as possible. So thank you so much for sharing all that with us today.
Thank you too, Caroline, for having me. It was a huge pleasure talking to you, and I hope some of your listeners will come and see themselves that Gstaad is a hidden gem in Switzerland. Thank you so much.
Thank you.